There's a very powerful quote that says your net worth is equal to your net worth.
What are the networking mistakes that you see people make?
Keep in touch as often as possible. Keep networking when you're doing well. Think about adding genuine value. You can't build a network only when you are in dire need of it. Every meal is a networking opportunity. Where you'll be 5 years from now depends on 3 things.
Okay, let's get into the art of networking. What exactly is networking? Hello and welcome to Break It Down for me. My name is Shayan. This is a video series where we break down complex topics and big ideas and simplify it into something that both of us can understand and actually use. Today we will talk about a topic called networking. Is networking even important today? And how actually to use networking for our benefit. Today, joining me on the show as a guest is Saveen Hegde. He is somebody who is a mechanical engineer by education but is an entrepreneur by passion. He founded Unbox Experience, a company which has worked with 100 plus organizations across 22 nations of the globe, and he helps them rethink how they lead, innovate, and communicate. Apart from that, he was among the top 10 participants at the World Championship of Public Speaking as well. And the kind of work that he does is all about people, relationships, and collaboration. So, who better to talk about networking than Saveen Hegde? Hi, Saveen. Welcome to Break It Down for me.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. We will talk about networking because I think with your work, the kind of place that you've reached, networking has had a big hand to play regarding that. Uh, so, first question that I have for you is networking really important? Can't I just depend on my talent to go ahead and be where I should be?
I think it's a great question. So, my take is that your talent and whatever you're building is very important. And what networking can do is essentially amplify what you're building. So if you're building a product, the product is equally important. But with your network, network can amplify its reach. So we need not overemphasize on the fact that only networking can help you. So firstly, you need to know who you are, what you're building, and then networking amplifies the impact of what you're building. So yeah, I would say it's equally important.
It's equally important.
Yeah, it's like having Coca-Cola or Pepsi as a product and the distribution network it has, right? The reason a brand like Coca-Cola is accessible to each of us, as well as how good the product is, both are equally important. It's like that. So your network is that distribution effect where your talent, your product, your service reaches people.
Yeah, so basically what I understand is, let's say I can bring value to some business, some people. Networking kind of allows me to reach those people.
Yes.
Because without it, it will be difficult for me. It will take longer for me to reach the same people.
Yeah.
Right? That's the right way to go about it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. If I have about 100 hours, right? I want to spend 100 hours towards my skill, building my skill. How many hours of that should I spend, let's say, networking? An arbitrary question.
So I think it varies at different stages of your growth. So if you are starting out in your profession and you don't know who can help you at all, then you'll spend more time finding that right person. So you need to spend more time finding that teacher or mentor in your area.
Right.
And then you find them, and versus somebody who's already built their skill, they know what they're doing, and they just need to add value to the others. Then you're at a different stage.
Then you spend more time into networking and reaching people.
Because at least for me, I, like you rightly started off with, I used to be an engineer working at a desk job. So I didn't have any of the skills that I had to build. So I had to learn all of this very consciously, whether it is speaking on stage or speaking to people or meeting, running a meeting with high stakes leaders. So everything was a learning for me. So I had to learn it by doing it. So whether to introduce yourself was also an art. All of these things I had to learn by doing. So the first few years, it was more about who can I learn from. So I used to go meet them and learn from them. And then after that, those relationships sort of matured, and now they are the same people who are actually recommending our work and taking it to their organizations and so on. So it's been like that. So in the early years, I would say 30, 40 hours out of your 100 hours should be here. And then maybe later on find a way to make that shorter, but having more deeper impact. Maybe lesser time is also good enough.
Let's get into the art of networking. What exactly is networking? Is it me walking up to you, Saveen, and say, "Hey, Saveen, lovely meeting you. Hey, I am this. This is what I bring to the table. This is what I do. Hey, would love to collaborate with you."
Yeah.
Is that networking? What actually is networking? Tell me that.
So networking, according to me, is building an authentic, meaningful connection
Hmm.
where even after maybe 2 years, if I call you, you'll know what we spoke 2 years back. So there is a little bit of depth that both of us appreciate. So that is beautiful, rather than just collecting your business card or collecting your phone number and just saving it. Then I become like a phone book versus we both had a interesting conversation. And maybe after a few months when we reconnect, you recall that and you appreciate that. So that has a sense. It's firstly two-way. Both of us find some common interest, find some common ground in it. So we like to come here for that. And you value what I bring, I value what you bring. That's an ideal state of why both of us like to stay connected. So that meaningful, authentic connection is networking.
Okay, give me an example from your life. I know how you have this story of how you met a particular magician. You wanted to learn magic, right? And then what happened? Because you did not go and tell somebody, "I want to learn from magic. You teach me what you know." That's not how you approached it. Tell me that.
So I was at this large auditorium called the Town Hall in Bangalore. And I had heard so much about this person. His name is A.K. Dutt. And everybody was like, I learned it from him, I learned it from him, but he has stopped teaching now. That's what I heard before. And there were no videos and all of that back then. So I watched him live on stage and I felt, oh, he's very interesting. He was a master of his craft. So, and everybody told me that he has stopped teaching. So one of my friends, Sridhar, said, I know him, I work with him for something else, but I can introduce you. So I met him and then I realized that he has stopped teaching magic. So, and this is early years. I didn't know what networking meant or building authentic connection. I was like, what do I know that could help him and that he may be struggling with? So then I realized that he didn't have a website, he didn't have a good video, he didn't know what he was, because he was also moving from magic to mentalism. So every time I met him, I would say, I can do this for you, I can do this for you. So I ended up organizing a show for him and then making a very good video of his show and then publicizing that, actually talking to a few companies about his work and then getting him a show at one of the 5-star hotels and all of that. And then he was like, okay, how do I pay you back? He's like, can you keep a money commission on this? I said, no, I really genuinely like your work. So I was doing it only for that. So he was very grateful. And I feel that those few shows that we did together were some of the best shows that he has done in his life, because he recently also passed away. So I feel really proud about what I did. Now, he did not explicitly say that he's going to teach me something, or implicitly I felt I learned a lot by being around him. So when you're really young, I feel it's you need to choose these people that you want to network with and also that you can learn from. And they need not sit down and teach you things. You just hang around them and you will learn that. So with that intent, I went. When I look back today, all of these things are written in some books and so on. But this is one good experience I had of how you can build a relationship by giving more, by not keeping a tab. Because there have been times when I've done the same things with others and they didn't value it also. And they just took it and used it and then, and that's about it. But you should not feel bad about it. You just keep doing more because you also get to build relationships and you're also learning different things.
Absolutely. So the idea is how do you build an authentic relationship? One way is the one that you're talking about. You figure out, okay, so you figure out a person who you want to learn from. Then you figure out what value can you add to his, her, or their life. And that way you build an authentic connection.
Yeah.
And you said there are two ways to learn. which is one is implicitly and one is explicitly. Explicitly is where the person says, okay, Shine, you have
Yeah.
brought value to my life. Let me teach you all my secrets. The other is you learn by being around them. Implicitly, you're learning from them
Yeah.
as you're adding value to their life. So the relationship is not forced and both of you kind of benefit. And that's what actual networking probably looks like.
Yeah. Those are the networking that has worked well for me. Whereas I've done the wrong way, where I've just given my business cards to 100 people and then came back and then waiting for them to call and nothing happens. So
Right.
because it's been a journey of like more than a decade of doing different things, right? So I've fallen trapped to doing the wrong ways also. But when I look at, okay, what made that work is this connection where I found value in them and they also find some value in what I bring to the table.
Right.
And we have that connection.
Right. There's a guy called Elliot Bisnow. Now, this I'm talking about a particular book. It's called The Third Door, and it's written by a guy called Alex Banyan. So he's a young college guy, right? He's a young college guy, and he's studying medicine, if I'm not wrong. And then one day he decides, you know what, I want to write a book about reaching the top people in their respective field, the top athletes, the top business folks, into how they made happen what they actually achieved. And I want to distill all of that down in a book. Now it's easier said than done. I or this guy is coming with no background of writing. Why will those people give him time? So the book, The Third Door, is about how he manages to reach those people. Right. And he has crazy stories of how he manages to actually reach people. So he speaks about a guy called Elliot Bisnow. Elliot Bisnow, what he does is, this is a very young guy who hangs around with all the top business folks, CEOs and founders and stuff like that. So what he does is he just picks up this call, cold calls a lot of these founders and tells them that, hey, I'm going to organize a skiing trip for you and the biggest business folks of the country of US. So just come and hang out. So some of them will give time, some of them not. And he doesn't know how to fund them. After he's got a board of people who will come to the ski trip that is just thought of, he then approaches other people to say that, hey, I'm getting these founders and startup founders here, and why don't you sponsor this trip? So he benefits by hanging out with them. The people that is invited to ski trip, they benefit by hanging out with other founders.
Yeah.
And the people who are sponsoring the event, they also benefit because they get to make those kind of business connections as well. And that's how this guy Elliot Bisnow started his career. And after that, he's done a lot more events. He's put people in White House, this, that. And his philosophy comes from the fact is, bite off more than you chew. Like, you just bite off and then you will somehow figure out how to chew that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a great way to go about connecting, for that matter. Tell me, what are the networking mistakes that you see people make? You said that you have made mistakes as well. I'm sure a lot of people come and approach you as well. Hey, Saveen, I do this work. Or hey, Saveen, can you connect me to such and such people?
So I think the networking mistake number one is just handing out your contact and assuming that they will share it with somebody because it just doesn't add enough value, right? So if it's as simple as that, if you found value in somebody's work, you will recommend their work or them to somebody else. So you need to have a good experience yourself. That's when you add your weight behind that recommendation. It's like that. So if you feel that has not happened, then there is more work to do for yourself. Like, if I used your service and then I had a bad experience, then I will not talk about you to 10 other people in a good way. So it's a journey of building yourself and building the network.
Right.
And not the other way around. Sometimes your work being exceptionally good itself attracts a lot of attention and network. So that has been my primary goal. That what you do, is it exceptionally good? Is it one of the best in the world? Then automatically I am confident to take it to someone else. So your step one is always that. Be as skillful as possible, or build this amazing product, or build this amazing organization. Whatever you're doing should be really good, and that's a journey. But at the same time, parallelly, you can keep seeking feedback and taking and showing it to the people you trust as well. So you're building this network. So mistake number one is, I used to attend these large conferences as an attendee, and try to give business cards to many people and say,
Okay.
this is what I do, this is what I do. And I know that the hit rate or the connection rate was much lower. And I've also seen people who have like massive number of connections on LinkedIn or some of these social media platforms, but it's not deep enough. So sometimes it's not the number of people that you connect with, but the depth at which you connect with them. There's a very powerful quote that says your net worth is equal to your network. So the more number of people, interesting people trust you, then the higher the chances of your success. So can you keep expanding your circle of people who trust you and who know you, who like your work genuinely, then your work keeps expanding.
Okay. Now, speaking about that art, break it down for me. How do you actually go about networking? We talked about the mindset, but what does a person have to do?
I'll just break down the mindset part first. The first thing is never feel that I am going to get something out of this immediately.
Right.
So, and don't keep a diary of it and tabulate. I helped 10 people, but they are not helping me. Because the 10 people that you have supported or connected or whatever way you've added value to, they may not directly add value to you today. They may add value to you maybe a year later or 5 years later.
Right.
Right? So, and it's not the same people who will come back and add value to you. Because if I have helped you in certain way very genuinely, you found value in what the connection we had, you may talk about me to 3 other people and those 3 people may come back and help me. So that's the power of a network, right? It's interconnected. So the idea is it's a long-term game first. The second thing is the clarity of purpose. Like, do you know what you are building and what kind of people are going to amplify the work that you do? So having that clarity. So you are a radio jockey and you do live events and you host these great programs. You going and playing golf with CEOs, will that help you? Maybe it's far-fetched. You need to work with maybe 10 event agency owners.
Right.
So, and you will know one. Now that one person may know 5 other people, but why will they introduce you to those 5 other people? That's a good question. So
Right.
who can amplify your work? If you are clear about that, work with them and understand their lifestyle, understand the gaps in their lifestyle and the rooms that they're going to be in and see how I can get into that room. So having clarity of your purpose and also not keeping a tab on, hey, I've done this, I've done that. So a lot of it, according to me, is more inner work that you need to do to seek clarity. And then the outer work of where is that genuine connection and value addition is important.
All right. But how do you go about meeting people who can add value to your life? Right? So there should be a couple of approaches for that. For example, we met through a common interest that we share, which is theater.
Yeah.
Right? We are a part of an improv theater group. But I know my friend who has met really top-notch people who can add value to his career, but he didn't go out looking for that. He is a cricketer. He's an amateur cricketer and he plays cricket with really some top-notch folks. This is just local cricket club. So that way he has built, I would say, a network of people, though in his head he might be just friends or, people he makes cricket with. So how do you go about finding and meeting
So
people?
the common
and building a
factor that you
community?
spoke about right now is your authentic passion. Like you and I found improv comedy as a space that we can spend time and learn. So if we meet there, we are connecting based on the passion. So if there's a bikers club, you love biking, you'll meet there. If you like playing golf, you meet there. So common passion is a great way to connect with people because you don't have any facade or any resistance to it. Versus you walking into somebody's office and trying to sell them something.
Right.
Then there is a resistance like, why should I meet this guy? He's trying to sell me something. So going to common places where you are passionate about something, other people are passionate about it, work with the community.
Right.
And you spoke about your friend. Now that person is a great example of what we call as a connector. So can you connect with connectors? That's the other way, because somebody has a good network
Hmm.
and they will go and tell you about you and what you do to their network. He's a great person to connect with. It cuts you short. You don't have to build that network.
Right. So basically, friends of friends.
Yeah.
Friends of friends is another way to meet really cool people.
Yeah.
Because you might know somebody from school, college who knows
Yeah.
somebody who can help
Yeah.
you.
So, but it boils down to what are you doing?
Right.
For example, if you are running this podcast, you're like, hey, I want to interview more CEOs. Then you may message your 10 close friends saying, do you know a CEO? Because I'm running this podcast. Here's a clip. Then there's a purpose for that connection. But the larger goal should be, can I learn from them? So bottom line is, do you have the curiosity to learn and understand somebody else's life and really try to find a value add gap that I can add value in this gap because this is a gap in their life, and see how you can do that.
We were just discussing before this podcast started about a book. It's called Never Eat Alone. So, which you were reading. Can you tell me about that? I think that has some brilliant networking principles.
Yeah. So Never Eat Alone is a great book. And I saw that some of the pointers that he said, I have unknowingly done the mistakes as well as the positives when I look back today.
Tell me.
So
Give
that's
me an
the
example.
like for example, his point is every meal is a networking opportunity. So during COVID, all our work stopped. We run these experiential programs with leadership teams and so on, and we could not go out of our office. So I said, how do I sort of use this time? So I started calling one of my friends every week to office to have lunch with me. And he's written about this in his book, saying every meal is an opportunity. And I'm like, oh, that helped me. So I would call somebody who I've not had the time to meet, saying, hey, come to our office. It's in the heart of the city.
Right.
And let's just have a meal. So I did that for, I think, 12 weeks or so. Every week I met 12 new people, just heard about what's going on in their life. And it was also a time when we were in COVID that people had a lot of different sort of frustrations.
Right.
So it was great to listen to them. So listening is the key to show that curiosity. So you're not just talking about what I can give and so on, really understanding their life. And so that really worked for me. So that would be a great way that every meal that you have, can I call somebody to have a meal with me?
And in that book, so he also talks about build it before you need it, which is what you spoke about earlier, that you build a connection and sometime in the future it might pay off. And that's a good thing. And he also talked about constant pinging, which means not only do I have to meet Saveen at a event and have a conversation with him, I have to keep in touch with Saveen. We'll get to that part a little later. Now, you know this very interesting person. I saw you at an event with this guy. He, I think, popularized the brand Ujala. He's a really high profile person who will have time for very few people in their life. But I saw him being very pally with you. How did you get to meet that person and build that connection?
Yeah. So with top business folks, right? A lot of times there will be a platform where I connect. So it'll be like an event where I'm speaking and they're also speaking. So I'm speaking on a thought leadership concept on innovation, design thinking, storytelling, and they would be invited on the same panel or the same space. So if there are 12, 15 people in that program, I sort of read about them before and see who is most interesting, where do I find that commonality. Like I said, it's a two-way connection. And I find that out of those 10, 12 people, it'll be hardly one or two people. And with them, I go out of the way and I attend their talk or I take notes or I research about them a little more. And then I speak to them. I make it a point. I find the confidence to speak to them and stay in touch with them. So the person you're speaking about was like that. Like he was a person who had built the brand, and I heard him on stage and I was like, okay, he's very
interesting.
Yeah, he's very, very, clear in his thought process. So I loved the clarity of thought he had. And I'm like, that is something I want to learn because it'll help me. So with that so-called selfish intent of learning from him and having that curiosity, I went to him and said, I want to learn this from you because I saw you. And then we did many meetings. And again, he found value in our work and what we've done with small businesses and helped them out.
Right.
So it is a two-way thing. So once he got to know this is who we are, then we sort of worked together. And you saw our relationship probably at a mature stage.
Right.
And you felt, oh, yeah, this is great. But it takes a lot of work. So the bottom line is, whoever you are and where you'll be 5 years from now depends on three things: the kind of people you meet, the kind of books you read, and the kind of places you visit. So I try to amplify all these three things. Essentially, I'm a very good learner from people. So when they speak to me about certain concepts, certain life stories, it really stays with me for a long time. So I put myself out there to get that from people. Second is from books and articles and so on. Of course, books does not traditionally mean books anymore.
Right.
Like,
Videos,
yeah,
podcasts.
like because you gave me this topic of networking, I started implicitly reading and learning about it over the last couple of weeks. And that's when I saw some of the concepts written in these books I have experienced in my life. So that's a great learning for me.
Right.
And the third is just visiting places and going to different places and learning about their culture. And that's one of the reasons why I love my job, because I make sure I go to places that are not comfortable or, it's outside our zone.
Right.
Yeah. So, and every time we visit some place, you learn you're not in your comfort zone, and your ideas expand, your exposure, the kind of things people do there, you sort of observe and learn a lot.
So yes, a couple of things that we've learned till now is, number one, you have got to be a little more social, say yes to a few more things. Number two is, not only when you build it not only important is it to build a connection, but it's also important to keep in touch with that person. Find small reasons to be in touch. Send them a meme, send them an article link, see how you can help them, and that helps build that connection. So I want to ask you a question of actionable points. People love actionable points.
Sure.
So recommend three things to people that can actually help them grow their network.
First thing is to think about adding genuine value with what you do. So it could be, that's what helps you build a connection. Don't think of only getting. So try to see what I can give more. Second, I think you mentioned it really well. Keep in touch as often as possible through some form of community that you are passionate about. So bringing them to get a exposure to your community.
Right.
And the third one is keep networking when you're doing well, because when you're thirsty, you can't dig a well, right? So the network connections have to be grown, and when you need them, there is some crisis, or when you realize that I need somebody, they will be there. You can't build a network only when you are in dire need of it, right? So it is like investment in SIP. Like you're constantly putting in money, and then you get the lump sum amount in the long run.
This is there in that book, Never Eat Alone, as well. I was just Googling this, that they say build it before you need it.
Yeah.
So invest in building, as you said, SIP, before you actually need it. One day that will come.
So you put in small efforts today, and don't wait for that short-term gain. It will pay out later, and not the same people that you've put in effort, and it'll pay out in some other form. But you need to keep putting in the effort.
I think a lot of people who are watching this might feel that I want to learn from ABC, but I don't know how can I help them. So there is a story again of this guy Alex Panion, who has written the book The Third Door. So he meets through these, so he knows somebody through that, he knows somebody else through that, he knows somebody else, and he's hanging out with top-notch people. One of the people he's hanging out with is Tony Hsieh. He's the founder of a company called Zappos, very big in US. And in some party that he's just gone to, he's just hanging around chilling. Tony Hsieh is happy and he's asking people, what I can do for you? What can I do for you? Tell me one thing I can do for you. Tony Hsieh goes around asking people. He asks Alex. Alex says, I want to shadow you for one day. He takes a beat and then say, okay, done. So that day finally comes. Alex gets to shadow Tony Hsieh, go to the meeting, see what he's doing the whole day. And the evening when he goes back, Alex says that he notices that a lot of people working at Zappos are jealous of him and also curious, who is this person? How does he get this opportunity of, meeting Tony Hsieh and shadowing him and everybody? So Alex at the end of the evening tells Tony Hsieh, why don't you give this opportunity to your colleagues? And Tony Hsieh says, but nobody asks me. So the idea is, and I realized that a lot of times we say no to things. If Saveen is somebody I don't know, I want to work with Saveen, I want to bring value to his company, or even if I don't know what value, I want Saveen to pay me for whatever. He's giving a lot of people opportunity. I will not approach Saveen thinking, ki, "Arey yaar, a lot of people are approaching him. Why will he pay attention to me?" And that's a mistake we all did. I have done it so many times in life. But this is a great example of ask nevertheless,
Yeah.
right? And
And
I think you also do this. Sorry to interrupt. You also do this where you, once you meet a person, you invite them for something, and if the person says no, they're busy or this, you still keep in touch with them, right?
yeah, so if you feel that they don't want to build a connection,
Hmm.
and you get a sense of it with
Hmm.
the more you do it, then it's okay to keep them off the books.
Hmm.
But if you feel they genuinely are not in the country
Hmm.
and they want to meet you but they're not here, then
Hmm.
you have to follow up and see that, hey, we couldn't meet last
Hmm.
month,
Hmm.
or you couldn't meet last year. Here is another opportunity. How about we do this here? So
Hmm.
you have to follow up to, because you feel that there's something authentic. It's like this wire that you have. It's not connected yet. For me, it's like that.
Ah.
So I
Hmm.
feel like, hey, this person wants the connection, but just that there's no time. But till it connects, for me, it's disconnected.
Hmm.
I constantly try to connect that. And asking, I think you brought up a very valid point. You only ask when you have intrinsic confidence.
Hmm.
I had this experience. I saw Kiran Bedi speak on stage,
Hmm.
uh, and she just walked in front of me, and I just was so inspired by what she spoke. I wanted to just tell her that, or, you know, but I just couldn't do that. This was in IIM Bangalore. Cut to maybe 10 or 12 years later, she and I were in the same conference in Kerala. And then what happened is I was the speaker just before her.
Oh wow.
So I was speaking on stage, and then because it was her time, she enters the room, and I'm closing my talk. And everybody's freaked out. They're like, okay, she's already waiting. What are we doing? And she saw the last 5-10 minutes of my talk. So what that gave me as a confidence, because I saw her laughing, smiling, listening to what I was saying, then
Hmm.
it sort of increased my confidence to know that, okay, she knows what I do. So
Hmm.
that day, 15 years later, is when I could speak to her,
Hmm.
because I realized that she will allow me to speak.
Hmm.
So what changed is not the person, but my confidence of how she will look at me. So again, comes back to, are you building something that you are proud of?
Right.
That you feel that you are also,
Hmm.
in that moment, you're equal. I
Hmm.
can't be equal to Kiran Bedi or
Hmm.
whoever.
Hmm. Hmm.
But in that moment, I feel I can have a connection. So I wrote an email to her. She replied back. And now,
Hmm.
we sort of built that connection that day, because I didn't have confidence to ask her. But then I got the confidence to ask her. What had changed is my life, not hers.
Hmm.
So I feel the essence is building yourself to become more extrovertish, because I'm also not so
Hmm.
much of an extrovert by default.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
But just the purpose inspires me to do this. Like, what I'm
Hmm.
building requires me more people to work with.
Hmm.
How do I connect with those many people?
Hmm.
And that purpose drives me. So finding that purpose and building on it automatically makes you a good networker, because you have clarity
Hmm.
of what you're doing and clarity of who can help you.
Hmm.
So that gives you the power to move forward.
All right. So, in conclusion, for me, my takeaways, and people who are watching this might have different takeaways. How to network effectively. Number one is invest in yourself or the product or the skill that you are building. So, be reasonably sure and confident of that as much as you can. Number two is when you are looking to meet somebody who you can learn from, think of how I can also add value to
It could
their
be
life,
small value also.
small
Yeah.
value. Number three is look at building an authentic connection and not key. I'm going to say hi, hello to this person, and 5 months later, they're going to pay me 10 lakh rupees to do something.
Yeah.
No, it can pay off, but it will pay off in the future. Build it before you actually need it. Number four is when you meet a person, you have to keep in regular touch, something I'm really bad about. Regularly in touch, just somehow find a reason to text them once a month, twice a month. If they're out of the country, check back when they are back.
I have one more
Uh,
thing that I do that I think will be interesting. Every time I'm at the airport, I make sure I message somebody I've not been in touch with.
oh.
every time, because that's where I get free time.
That's
So because
interesting.
there's always a waiting time. So I message somebody and I say, do you want to talk for a quick chat? So then I always message somebody every time I'm at the airport, or I call them.
That's a good way to keep in touch with somebody and remind yourself to that I'm going
Yeah,
to keep
yeah,
in touch with
yeah.
somebody. All right. So in a nutshell, this is what networking is, and this is how you go about it. Saveen, thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thank you.
We will have Saveen back for more interesting topics that we will break down. There are plenty of things to speak about. So yes, please let us know what your takeaway has been from this episode. एक चीज जो शायद मैं बोलना भूल गया, you think that that was an important point made. So please let us know. And from your comments, others will benefit as well, and both of us might benefit from that as well. And any questions also, if you have, please put it down. We will try and see if we can answer that. Thank you so much for watching. Break it down for me. We will be back with another episode very shortly. Thank you.